Evidence to action, advocacy basics. What does advocacy mean? In this video, we'll explain what advocacy is, the different types of advocacy, and why it matters, especially in research led by and with people with disability. Every person advocates for themselves in some way, ordering coffee, asking a question at work, or deciding what to wear. We speak up when something isn't right or fair, ask questions, or make choices about our lives. That's all a form of advocacy. For people with disability, advocacy has become more formal and tied to funding and systems, but still is important every day, whether with support workers, at meetings, and in the community. We use specific words, systems, and services to describe advocacy. These can carry more power and sometimes more weight because they are about protecting rights and making sure people are heard. Advocacy is about speaking up, standing with, and creating change. Advocacy is speaking up for yourself or for other people. An advocate is a person who helps you have your say and make sure people listen to you. Advocates can help you understand your rights, go to meetings with you, speak up if something is unfair. Advocacy is about making sure people with disability are treated fairly and have their voices heard. Types of advocacy. Advocacy is not just one thing. It takes many forms and it can come from many people. You can be a self-advocate, have an individual advocate, be part of systemic advocacy, or receive support from unpaid advocates like family and friends. Self-advocacy means speaking up for yourself, making decisions about your life, saying what you want, and being heard. Individual advocacy means having someone stand beside you to help you understand your rights, make decisions, and deal with services or systems. Unpaid advocacy is the everyday support people give, parents, friends, family, or peers who speak up with and for someone they care about. Systemic advocacy is about changing the bigger picture, laws, policies, practice, community attitudes, so everyone can live with human rights. But what if? Advocacy looks different for everyone and is not necessarily equitable for all. It depends on who you are, where you live, and what support you use. For example, location. There's no service near where I live. I live in a small town. There's no advocacy service near where I live, and I don't drive. Or experiences. When I tried to complain about discrimination, I couldn't get help to fill in the forms. Or about language. I use Auslan. Sometimes there's no interpreter when I need one, so I can't speak up. Or age. As an older person, the advocacy services don't have aged care experience. Sources of funding for advocacy. Advocacy is funded in different ways. Advocacy can be funded and organised in different ways, and that can change how easy it is for a person to get the help they need. Some people can use their NDIS plan to pay for individual advocates. This means they can choose someone to help speak up for them in meetings or when making decisions about their life. Other people get support from government-funded advocacy organisations. These might be local, state or national groups that offer advocacy to anyone who meets their criteria. Sometimes service providers offer their own advocacy support as part of their services. For example, helping someone speak up about how they want their support to be delivered. Advocacy can also happen inside mainstream services. For example, health consumer organisations work to make sure every person gets safe and respectful care and that their voices are heard in discussions about their health. Where can research make a difference? Advocacy matters for research too. When research is done by and with people with disability, it should centre the voices of people who have lived experience. Advocates help make this possible. They bring the knowledge of what really matters to people with disability in their communities. When researchers work in respectful and inclusive partnerships with advocacy groups and organisations, individual and systemic, it can change everything. Research becomes more relevant, focusing on real problems that matter to people with disability, not just what researchers think is important. It becomes more accessible, using inclusive language, easy English, Auslan, and other supports so everyone can take part. It becomes more ethical and safe. Advocacy partnerships can make sure the research protects people's rights and well-being. And it leads to real action because research shaped with advocacy organisations is more likely to influence government policy and services. When advocacy and research come together, it's not just about gathering information, it's about creating change that improves people's lives. Evidence to Action event, doing research together, supporting inclusive and collaborative research partnerships. Advocacy is about voice, power, and action. When we listen to advocates and support people to speak up, we move closer to an inclusive future. To learn more, join us at the upcoming NDRP events where we'll explore how to move from evidence to action together.